So basically, I have to do a YouTube video. This is just story time. So this story time is about 3 men. They're not even men, they're boys. So basically, I have a truck and I've always wanted to drive one when I was older because like, physically I'm too tall to fit in a car. I can fit in one, just not very comfortably. And like, I've just always liked the idea of driving a truck because I like to have I like to drive bigger vehicles. It's just my preference. And I just don't like to be cooped up in a little space for a certain amount of time. Besides the point. So I actually didn't like any of these men. We're gonna give them names. Charlie. So, okay, so I parked, the only time that I parked in 4 spots was this day. Because I was rushing to get back from my lunchtime. Because I went home for lunch. And I was rushing to get back and I was like, whatever, I'm just gonna park in these 4 spots. Not knowing that somebody was already parked there, but they left. Usually I don't park in people's spots if they leave because it's just kind of rude. And like, so when I come back, I usually try and park in the same spot. But obviously I was running late and I didn't want to be late to class. Basically, this is at the beginning of the year. I'm still a sophomore. I'm a sophomore now. 2 of them are in my grade and 1 of them is a grade above me. The spot I parked in was John's, and usually he takes up 4 spaces, which nobody usually cares because that's the back row. Nobody usually parks in those spots. I didn't know that like that was his spot. I just kind of parked in the back because there were people that I knew that parked back there. I was like, oh, I doubt they'll care that I just slid in here really quick and had to get to class. So basically, I had to go. I was coming out of my my 3rd class from after lunch. So it was like my 1st class after lunch. I was coming in, I was switching to my next class, and I was walking the hallway and I kind of saw like what they did to it, and I was like, you're kidding. Like, I was so frustrated. And I went to the office. I was like, I think something happened to my vehicle. Can I go look? And they're like, yeah, well, just let us know what happened if something did. And I was like, okay. And I went out there. Charlie's sister's vehicle was on one side. Charlie's vehicle was on another, and somebody, I don't know whose was in front of mine, but they had me blocked in. They were this far from my truck on each side except for the back side. So I was blocked in on all 3 sides, you know? And Bob and John didn't have anything to do with this general idea except for John because I parked in his spot. So I went back inside. I even tried squeezing in between the vehicles, not even caring if I scratched theirs because at this point I was like, I don't care. Like, I pushed my body up against theirs because I knew I was trying to get, and I didn't. And so I went back inside. I went back to the office and I was like, hey, can you call Charlie and Charlie's sister down because those vehicles were parked around me. I know who it is and I know why. These people already had a problem with me. I don't know why they did. It's just kind of whatever. I genuinely was so ticked off at this point, and when I get really frustrated, I start like tearing up, and I was like, I wasn't full on crying, but I was like tearing up. I was like holding back in my throat, and like my throat was hurting. I was like, I literally just want to scream right now because I was already having a terrible day, and I was like, there's this to add on top of it, you know? I stayed in the office, right? Yeah, I stayed in the office when they went out because the principal got them in trouble. And so they had to walk out and move all their vehicles, and when they came back in, I went out and I moved mine to the teacher parking lot, which is, so here's the student parking lot, this is this, my head is the school, and this is the teacher parking lot. Teacher parking lot, school, student parking lot. So I finally moved my vehicle to the student parking lot, and I started accelerating when I was trying to get out of the student parking lot, and I heard this ticking noise as my drive shaft was going around. I was like, what? Like, I was so confused, and I saw this group of people laughing. I was like, you've got to be kidding me. They did something else. I was so mad at this point. I was crying in my vehicle in the teacher parking lot. And I got so mad, I punched my steering wheel and I was like, you're kidding me right now. And so I went and I didn't know what it was at the time, but now I do. And I was like, I called my dad, and he lives, mind you, he lives an hour or something away. He can't really come up and help me because he lives that far away. So I called him, and he was like, did they put something in your tire? And like, before I called him, I checked my tires, I checked my steering. Like, I didn't know what to check at this point because I was so done and over of checking stuff. I called my dad, and I was like, just call your mom's boyfriend. And so we live like not even 5 minutes away from the school. So I was like, whatever, like, I'm just gonna call him. And he was driving it, like, I drove it in a circle, and I was like, I looked under, and I was like, there's a zip tie on my drive shaft. That's amazing. So I was like, Immediately I blamed it on Charlie because he was the one that did the other stuff. And it was a big zip tie. It was like that, and it was like that thick. I was so mad. I cut it off, and I drove home. I was like, and I got a call from school, and I was like, do you want me to go back in and let you know what's going on? He's like, yeah, just come into my office. I was like, okay, whatever, bye. I went back to the school, and I went to the principal's office. I was like, this is what else happened. And he's like, you're kidding. And I was like, I'm literally not. Like, I'm so ticked off. And he's like, I can tell you're crying. And I was like, everything's just been so bad today, and like, just this to add on top of it. So we watched the security camera footage because I was like, we had to make sure that it was Charlie and not somebody else. This is where John and Bob come into the story. John and Bob were the ones, or who put the zip ties on my drive shaft, right? Right. That ticked me off. They haven't talked to me about it. I've never confronted them about it to this day because I just don't want to get into contact with them because I know they'll do something again if I even try to talk to them. No, I didn't know it was them until I heard it from Charlie, because he didn't take part in the zip ties. It was Bob and John who did it. And he told me that. Like, Charlie told me that Bob and John did it, but I wasn't supposed to say anything. He was friends with them, so I wasn't supposed to say anything because he was snitching them out. Well, it's out now, so sorry. Ruining your reputation. So I just got ticked off to that point. I was like, I'm not even gonna park over there in that general area anymore. I'm gonna park where the cameras are and all this and that. And like, they still glare at me, and they still just do stupid, like, when I'm driving past them or something, they'll like speed past me or rev their engines, or if I see them, they'll be like with their vehicles, and it's like, no one asked. Later on down the road, I took my truck down to my dad's because I needed to get some stuff done on it, like change my oil, just simple things like that. Well, while I was doing it, I noticed that there was letters keyed into my door. And this is the Unsolved Mysteries of Lisa's truck because of the high school parking lot. The letters JR are carved into my door. And it's like little, it's like that big below my window, like right below the window on my driver's side. And it really ticks me off because, like, I don't know anyone with those initials besides somebody, and I'm friends with her, so she wouldn't do that. But I don't know, maybe they were trying to frame her and then like make me not be her friend, but it didn't work. She wouldn't do that. To Bob and John, I know what you did, so you don't have to lie about it anymore. Your so-called friend told me what happened. So I strongly dislike you. I could care less if you left my school. I wish nothing but the worst for you at this point, because that's all you've ever done to me is be mean and disrespect my belongings, and it's like not okay to do that, especially when I never did anything to you. I don't know what I did to you. To Charlie, he actually apologized to me, and we're like civil. I don't really talk to him, and I just don't want to be friends with him in general because he doesn't seem like the person I want to hang around. I don't hate him like I do Bob and John, because Bob and John are the least of my worries. I hope you all enjoyed this video as much as I did telling it. If you are Bob or John, screw all the way off, and literally I hope you fail high school. Charlie, I don't like you. You're kind of annoying, and I just don't like you in general, but thanks for apologizing. I'm gonna take that up like an adult. But the things you did are childish, so I hope you realize that, because it's not funny. I hope you all learned from your lessons. If you didn't, I'm sorry. Maybe you will one day, or you won't, and I just kind of like gonna laugh at you. But yeah, otherwise, thank you guys for watching. I love you. Peace out.